You're listening to the We Are Libertarians podcast network. Find all of our shows at wearelibertarians.com.
Libertarian Country is one of the fastest growing and most popular liberty-themed apparel companies in the world. This American-based company was founded by two brothers out of Baltimore who had a vision to create an online store that offers fun, unique, and controversial political clothing and accessories. This five-star company offers the hottest shirts, hoodies, hats, and so much more. So check them out today. This is an independently owned, liberty-loving business that basically gives you the exact type of apparel and paraphernalia that you've wanted anyway. You just didn't know you wanted it now. Every purchase you make using the link in the show notes allows a small part of your purchase to come back and support the show. So go grab some awesome Libertarian Country swag using that link in the show notes. You'll thank me later. Real fast, let me go ahead and tell you about InboxDollars. Are you looking for a side hustle so easy you could do it while sitting on the toilet or in between commercials watching your favorite show? Unless you're like on demand and commercials are like an ancient thing to you. Hear me out. InboxDollars has your back. For 20 years, InboxDollars has paid over $59 million in cash rewards to its members for doing everyday online activities such as reading emails, taking online surveys, playing games, and watching videos and TV. They also have ongoing promos and contests for members to win money online. And they share the top ways for people to get beauty samples, free printable coupons, and other free online stuff. With so many easy ways to earn extra cash online and having fun in the process, it's no wonder Forbes, Mashable, Bustle, and so many other trusted outlets name InboxDollars the easiest and fastest way to earn money online. If you're looking for a way to influence future products and services while getting paid at the same time, then InboxDollars is for you. Click the special link in the show notes of this episode today and get $5 just for signing up. Get this $5 signing bonus just for creating an account. That's InboxDollars. The link is in the show notes of today's episode. Get it, get your $5, and get started.
Prepare yourself. You're on the run with Remzo W. Martinez.
A long time ago, in a galaxy far, far away, to go ahead and infringe on the lore of one franchise, many others came out of it. And to this day, it still ranks as one of the games that made my childhood. And probably one of yours. Yes, folks, we're talking about the legend, the real first love of my life, the Mass Effect. Wait, what's that? We're going to have to edit that. I just completely had a complete brain fuck up. What the hell? Okay.
Do you just want to start over?
Mass Effect trilogy?
The first love of my life, the legendary series that impacted my childhood and most likely yours. Yes, I am talking about the Mass Effect trilogy. Folks, welcome once again. I have the Degenerate Panel. We have 1/4 Persian Zed. Zed, how is life?
Going well.
Sean is in Delaware right now because that's a thing that white people do. They go to beaches in Delaware. Sean, can you please confirm that you are wearing pants?
I am wearing pants, RJ. Thanks.
Okay.
Visual proof.
We don't need visual proof. I will. Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. Okay. And then we have at the producer's table today, handling video feed and everything else, Derek. Derek, how is life?
It's pretty good, RJ. Pretty good.
Pretty good it is. Well, folks, we came here because as we're discovering the things that made us who we are, there are certain points where we branch off from boys to men. And in our case, we're looking at a moment where we definitely turn from boys to very, very, very teenagers. And what we're talking about is a game that isn't just something that we spent obscene amount of hours playing, like many of you probably did if you came up with the millennial generation. But it was certainly a game that made us question, can we be creative? What is there to push us in our imagination beyond the stars? What makes video games such good methods of telling stories? And ultimately, how many opportunities do you have to get laid by super hot alien women? Yes, we're talking about Mass Effect, as I mentioned earlier. This game isn't just something that I, myself spent obscene amount of summers just sitting in front of the TV playing. It's how I made friends. And as you know, in a few episodes prior, this is a game that brought me and Zed together. Zed, how about you go ahead and explain this?
Well, okay, so as much as I remember, this is how we actually met each other for the first time.
I have to start drinking now. Go ahead.
This game.
Well, this is what you say, the first conversation we had when we met each other. Apparently, we met each other in gym class, and I look at you, and I'm like, hey, you know there's this video game called Mass Effect, and you can have sex with alien ladies?
That was basically it. After that, how do you leave a conversation like that?
That's like, tell me more.
Tell me more.
Would you like to know more?
Because it's not the fact that we're all just going through our adolescent hormonal changes. It's that this type of stuff that we really take for granted now through TV and streaming and the internet, this game was really one of those first things that combined really good storytelling, awesome shooter experiences, the great sci-fi action of all our favorite films and series, Star Wars, Star Trek, Stargate, but it also added that little degenerate side of us that said, is this really a game? Because now it's just getting really, really...
Well, yeah, you know, this game, I knew about it before of all the controversy with all the romance options and stuff like that. I actually saw it on this site called GameTrailers.com. It's no more anymore because of YouTube, but back in the day before YouTube, if you wanted to watch gaming videos, you went to a site that specialized in gaming content. So, yeah, I saw a review on GameTrailers.com, and I'm like, this game's pretty cool, so I bought it. And then a few months later on YouTube, I saw this article by Fox News called Xbox or Sexbox, you decide.
Yeah, this is one of those moments where it was coming out around the time of Mass Effect 2. And before we go ahead and play the clip that ultimately made my parents question whether or not they would buy it for me and my brother, this is also one of those moments where it was really a game that had a cult following, but it wasn't until Mass Effect 2 came out that it actually became popular. Is that safe to say?
Yeah, pretty much. It's after like EA acquired it and started pushing all the marketing. I was like, oh my God, this game is so cool. But
yeah,
the whole Fox News article was blown way out of proportion, because when they say, oh, you could have sex with alien ladies, it's really like a PG-13 version of a romance scene. You know,
we'll get there, don't worry.
Yeah, it's just like it's like no nudity, and it's just characters being intimate with each other with like fancy romantic music, and that's it. But Fox News made it sound like it was like one of those sex games where it's like, if you play this, you're gonna come in 10 seconds. You know what I mean?
It's like they've never seen any video game that came out of Japan.
Yeah.
Well,
I worked in yet. So before we get to this video of the controversy that almost prevented all of us from actually getting our hands on this game because all our parents watch Fox, I worked at I've mentioned this before. I worked at GameStop after college, and it was really like I would not call myself a gamer. I only really play a couple of video games. The last games I remember actually playing were Star Wars, Jedi Fallen Order, Spider-Man for PS4, and Red Dead Redemption 2. Other than that, I really haven't touched anything else. But what was strange was that when I worked at GameStop, I began to realize that there are more games coming out than just the ones that you're constantly seeing ads for on TV. And what was strange is I always knew that these games existed, where it's like these strange, obscure Japanese video games where they have all this extremely X-rated, like tentacle content in there. And I just always wondered, how do people in the United States acquire it? Well, GameStop has all these games in the back. The thing is, though, much like old porn stores, you have to ask for it, and it's all kept in the back. So people would come up to me of these titles that had 17 different words because, of course, Japan. And then I would be at the cash register like, I don't think we have that. And the manager would come by, put his hand in front of me as if to stop me and be like, no, I know what you need. As him and this degenerate make eye contact. And then he goes to the back, pulls it out. It's a game with this really freaky cover with like a schoolgirl on there and obviously tentacles. And then he rings them up because this is like a drug deal type of transition. And then the dude who looks like he hasn't seen sunlight in months grabs it and flees like he's a criminal.
Well, that's what I like about Steam, because Steam is actually a free market platform because they cater to all developers. They don't got that, oh, we want to keep it family friendly. If you're an artist, if you're a developer, you can put your stuff on there.
So your manager of GameStop is just like hiding stashes of like weird Japanese hentai games, and
they have a lot of those too. Like I actually went to the back of the store and I looked around and it was a box. I don't know if it was like this at every store, but it said upon request only. And I'm like,
hilarious.
I'm just looking at this. I'm like, why would it be upon request? Well, like,
how did no one find out about this?
They're all garbage, though. They're all like, it's like they're so low effort. They're just cash. It's just a cash grab. Because if you look at screenshots of these games, it's like a mobile game like Candy Crush. It's like, oh, you get 5 in a row, and oh, she's blushing for you and shit like that. It's like you pay $60 for this. Yeah,
but you would think that like that this would be an amazing clickbait Fox News article. GameStop selling porn. Like,
I mean, we're still charging people like $60 for that stuff, and as soon as you take out the plastic covering it, we'll give you $2 if you don't just want to exchange it directly after 30 days. But it was just like
30 cents.
Yeah, as I look at games coming out now, like what was the one that came out that all the gamers actually hated? The Last of Us 2.
Oh yeah, it was terrible.
I remember we were on Sean's front porch talking about that, and we pulled up all the controversial scenes, and we were like, this is like stuff you see on in any HBO show or anything else. Secondly, it's just also bad. With Mass Effect, it was criticized for all the wrong reasons, but it's been able to stay a lasting game because ultimately it's good for everybody. For people that want a good story, for people that want something that's almost, Hollywood worthy, and then for everything. It's a game really for everybody of every walk of life. There's always a different reason why people like it. But with that said, Derek, will you please roll the clip?
I will roll the clip. Give me just one moment.
You get to see young Jeff Keighley in this.
Let me just make sure it's actually doing what I have. Okay, it is. And go.
Don't you understand? You've lost.
Pause it.
Everyone you know and love.
Okay, up front, and for folks, just remember, you can watch the full video version of this episode on Patreon, where you can go ahead and see this in all its glory. Right now, Fox News is playing the trailer for the first Mass Effect. It's like they're selling the game.
They really are.
But the headline...
Yeah.
Sex box? New video
somebody had to write that on the Chiron. Somebody actually thought that would be good, but there's this part of them thinking this is totally going to grab people for all the wrong reasons.
But here's where it's very misleading. It says new video game shows full digital nudity as sex. That's far from the truth.
Yeah, like the stuff that you want to see from all the fine alien honeys out there, you don't get to see it. You just get the preview. But anyway, we'll let Fox News do the talking.
Yeah, let's Fox News talking.
You will all die. Let's finish this.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing stuff. I was looking at it a little bit this afternoon. It's a new role-playing video game that is leaving nothing to the imagination. Mass Effect is what it's called. It's made for Microsoft's Xbox system, and it features in some parts of this. You'll see full digital nudity. Imagine. And the ability for the players to engage in graphic sex, and the person who's playing the game gets to decide exactly what's going to happen between the two people, if you know what I mean. Now, the game is rated M for mature. However, critics say that Mass Effect is being marketed to kids.
All right. So something I have to say. So for people who've never touched Mass Effect before, you have to work to get to the romance scenes. Like, it's not just something that falls into your lap. Like, you have to
build actual relationships.
Yeah.
So Derek, what you're telling me is it teaches you life lessons.
Yes.
Inside the game.
You actually have to build the relationship to get here. So that means someone at Fox News had to actually play through this game fully to get here.
Well, they're not even playing it. They're just showing a trailer.
Yeah, but, I mean, is this a trailer? Is this part of the trailer?
Yeah, it's part of yeah.
Oh, I didn't know Liara.
Oh, no, they probably went on YouTube and pulled a clip. You think Fox News is going to play a game?
No, they're not. They don't know anything. Never mind. Let's keep going.
and to teenagers. Microsoft responded to these claims and said that they were inaccurate. They released this statement that reads in part, "We actively support and abide by all video game rating systems and provide built-in industry-leading technology such as parental controls and a family timer that empowers parents and caregivers to monitor their children's experience with video games, notably with respect to content, online interactions, and the amount of time spent playing." Cooper Lawrence is a psychology specialist, radio talk show host, and the author of the new book, The Cult of Perfection. And Jeff Keighley is a game expert with Spike TV. Welcome to both of you. Cooper, it sort of cracks me up whenever I hear a company say that, there's all these controls.
Yeah, so I just want to say up front that, I was not going to talk about my GameStop days, but there were enough parents who would walk into the store and just say, "I just want to get my kid this game because I just don't want to deal with him." This whole thing that parents are suddenly all obsessed with the content that their kids are engaging with. I don't think they genuinely care. There were enough parents who would come into the store with the sole intent of buying these video games, fully disregarding what may or may not be something, actually appropriate for their kids. It's not until moments like this come up that some Karen gets mad because someone caught some side boob, and then they make a whole ordeal about it. And I mean, really, this game is not meant for 8-year-olds and 10-year-olds. But if you're a teenager, how is this any different than watching Game of Thrones with your family? I'm sorry, I like Game of Thrones, but what is Game of Thrones? Game of Thrones is softcore porn. And I know enough, right-wing Christian conservative families that watch that.
Well, this game's not even anywhere near that level.
Nowhere near that.
There's one scene in the whole game that, depending on your choices, that you get, and it's optional. It's not required that you do it, but I mean, most people will, but you don't have to.
Even then, it's the content itself. That this Fox bit is so misleading because it's any minute now you're gonna see Commander Shepard's schlong hanging out or something.
Yeah.
It's not
interview.
When did this come out, Zed?
07.
07.
Have we, are we looking at this with modern lenses? Because I even think back then, while this content was definitely kind of pushing the envelope, it's not like this was the first or even the most egregious attempt of showing this type of stuff.
Here's the thing. So, back in the day before Twitter, media outlets used to do all the whining and complaining and cancel culture. Now Twitter does all the whining and complaining and cancel culture
for free.
Got to do this shit anymore.
RJ, I have to follow. So following up on your GameStop days and people being like, "Oh, I just want to buy this for my kids," so they shut up. Did you ever have any parents walk in for the Japanese hentai request only games?
Not for those. I mean, it was always I don't want to talk in stereotypes, but you can assume the type of guys that would buy those. They're these white guys. They all have sweatpants. They all smell that they're living in their cars. They've got glasses that are cracked, and it sounds like they have a difficulty breathing, and they're asking for these games under their breath because they don't want anyone to actually hear that they're asking for Tickle Me Schoolgirls Super Fun Time 7. I don't know that that's a game. I just made that up using some generic term. Somebody's probably going to actually find that having been a game. But, I mean, the thing that would bother me the most is when
GameStop's just hiding this corner of degeneracy in the back. It's hilarious.
It's like that, too, and I'm pretty sure Best Buy had the same policy, even though if GameStop – I mean, people need to remember, GameStop, the way they made their money was off of – the used games. That's how they did it. And that's why they have now a wall of plastic shit of clothes, toys, and everything else, because they don't actually make money off of new video games or new consoles. So when they order this stuff from Japan, they mark it up extremely high. So that way, at least they know that there's an audience for it.
Damn. I just think that's kind of hilarious. That just all this time, there's just this corner of degeneracy at these GameStops.
Have I ruined GameStop for you forever, or are you more impressed by them?
I'm kind of slightly a little both.
I mean, aren't they bankrupt? Aren't they gone now?
I mean,
a bunch of them have closed down.
Yeah, GameStop's kind of dying.
Everything's digital now.
So how much degeneracy has been lost? Where did it all go? Did the managers take it with them? That's a good question.
What's funny is I applied for GameStop after I was I don't know. I left a job that I really didn't like last minute, and it was right before the holidays. So I only took it because they were the only people hiring, and I just needed the job. But what was funny was GameStop really has no standards for people.
I mean, really, anyone can get a job there, which is funny because I know somebody that said that they applied for another GameStop and they never got a call back. And ultimately, it's because if you can't get a job at GameStop, that means you just didn't try. GameStop will put anybody behind the cash register because ultimately it's an easy job. And if you can just be somewhat polite to people, you'll do absolutely fine.
Now, going back to this video, so the guy on the right is Jeff Keighley, and he used to be a presenter for Spike TV. He used to do the video game awards.
Oh, I remember him now.
Yeah, he's an old name in industry he's a real game journalist, not like the Kotaku journalist nowadays. We're
talking G4.
And the lady on the left is Barbara Comstock.
Oh, no.
And she's a psychologist, and she has no idea what the game is about or any context, but she's going to tell you why the game is bad for your kids. So let's play this video.
In there that you can monitor the time and you can, but basically Pandora's box is open. I mean, kids have access to these things, and unless you're hovering over them every second, they're going to find ways to see this stuff on the internet. How damaging is it really?
Well, the thing is, it's the whole concept of 13-year-olds have never seen Playboy because they're not supposed to. It's that idea that, let's talk about who the video game is for. It might be for adults.
Oh, it's real fast.
Look at the statistics. Who is playing?
I'm sorry. I promise we'll get through this video. Okay, I got to be honest. The only Playboys I ever saw were when I was 15, and they were all at Sean's house.
Yeah.
And they all belong to your father.
Not to be weird, and we looked at it together.
Because that's what teenagers do. But this whole idea of, it's them looking at Playboy. In Playboy's defense, Playboy is PG compared to the stuff that people are seeing online.
Yeah.
It's this sliding scale of what's appropriate and what's not, what we like and what we're willing to excuse and what's not. If Commander Shepard said, I love America, and we're going after space migrants, it wouldn't matter if he's banging 1 million hot female aliens. The right would love it. If Commander Shepard ate from Chick-fil-A, they would give no shit as to what else was happening in the game.
Yep.
Well, this is back when this is like what's funny is looking at this, not to get political, but this is when the right were the ones pushing cancel culture. Now it's it's all liberals canceling everybody. I almost missed this day and age when it was just these right-wing conservatives saying, oh, you can't see that in a video game. Now it's the left saying no one can play video games because video games appeal to the ultimate male fantasy.
Unless they're
fun with your friends?
Unless they're super SJW and include incredibly unattractive characters and very bland people. Then they have to, and men have to slightly look like women, and women have to look like men for some reason.
Like Last of Us 2.
Or like Mass Effect Andromeda. We'll get to that later.
Oh my gosh.
Okay. Let's continue this. We'll see the banter between the two.
Video games, but adolescent males, not their dads. So that's the first thing. The damage is this. We know that all the research shows that violence has a desensitizing effect. Well, sexuality does too, because this is when the developing mind is happening. This is when they're first deciding who they're going to be, who their identity is. This is when social development is happening. And here's how they're seeing women. They're seeing them as these objects of desire, as these, hot bodies. I mean, they don't show women as being valued for anything other than their sexuality. And it's a man in this game deciding how many women he wants to be with.
All right, let's get Jeff in on this.
All right, that's
go ahead, Jeff.
Completely incorrect. Yeah, it's completely incorrect. First of all, you can actually play as a man or a woman in the game. Cooper, have you ever played Mass Effect?
No.
Ooh. Right. Well, I think the fact is you talked about, another thing that you mentioned is that how it's, has full graphic nudity. That's completely incorrect. There's no full nudity in this game. There's the side of an alien boob, which can be seen. It's a small sexual situation in this game, which is about 2 minutes out of a 30-plus hour experience.
And Jeff, let me ask you something. Jeff, let me ask you a question. I have not played this game. I went on the website today. I clicked on a lot of different trailers. I tried to learn as much about it as I could before we did this. It's interesting. When you click on it, it asks you your age. It says you must go through a scanning process. So I thought, this is going to take forever. Okay, so I put in my age, and then boom, you're in, no problem. So that is a pretty easy screen to get past. There's nothing graphic that I saw on the front, the pages that I looked at on the internet. But it does beg the question, what it does to kids in terms of how they think about violence and sexuality, because they're, engaged and blowing people away in these.
Well, I think what's interesting about this, we talk about, sexuality in the media. One of the great things about Mass Effect, for people that have played it know this is a sort of a choose your own adventure story. and it doesn't force you down any situation. You can actually play through this game without the sexual situation ever happening.
Right, and the young boys are going to be choosing not to have sex. That'll be what they'll choose. I mean,
no, because it's not a simple choice, but Cooper, it's not a simple choice. You don't turn to the game and says, would you like to have sex or not? It's through the evolution of a relationship with characters, and the fact that this game has incredible artificial intelligence, and you can actually fall in love in this game, and it's just like modeling your life, and I think that's a much more powerful form of media.
Darlin, I got to go with the research, and the research says there's a new study out of University of Maryland right now that says that boys that play video games cannot tell the difference between what they're seeing in a video game in the real world if they don't have a real experience.
All right, Jeff, it's a fascinating game, and it's amazed at just.
Jeez.
Wow.
Yeah. They keep cutting him off, you know.
Like this is already 12 years old. I hope she lost her job. I hope she can't find work.
Well, she ran for Congress, didn't she?
That's not actual Barbara Comstock.
No, I'm just. She looks like, you know, it's like a.
What if it was Barbara?
Listen, video games aren't good. Okay, bye.
God is great.
God is great. She says as at the mosque.
Oh God, that's so cringy.
It's
Anyway, but
this is the same shit they say about like Columbine, where they were saying that Doom was what caused Columbine. Then they say this each time Grand Theft Auto comes out. I'm sorry, I've never seen a white boy in my neighborhood run out and try and find a hooker so he can stab her and then hijack a police car.
But I mean, this video. I mean, this is pretty much it. They cut him off at this point and just do their own thing.
Yeah,
that's pretty much.
Cut him off. I don't even see him in the.
So basically, when he invalidated their point, they just cut him off and just kicked him out.
You're making sense. Bye.
I bash the left a lot, and I mean the left deserves its bashing. I certainly don't deny that, and I enjoy making liberals cry. But this is just one of those examples where it's like, you know, and we're seeing this now in the pandemic, where there's no new movies and there's no sports, and all communal activities have been kind of killed. They go after what makes people happy, and then when you attempt to take it away from them, then they wonder why people lose their shit and they get mad. And I mean, what I love about Mass Effect was it was really the first game that I remember where it combined really the RPG element of what you would see in older games, traditionally not non-video games, where it's like you get this pick your own adventure aspect. And for me, I liked it because I could make a character that looks like me, you know, dashing and handsome, because obviously. But it's one of those games that appeals to so many people because you can ultimately have the adventure you want, and everything is based off your own decisions. It's a game that has been able to do that over and over again. And I mean, with the first three games, that couldn't have been more evident.
Yeah,
very true.
I think as we talk about this more in depth, maybe if Derek wants to pull up some gameplay in the background and we can just talk over it, you know, it gives us some topics to talk about, you know, the universe, the lore, the characters, what we love about it.
Yeah, actually, Derek, how about you go ahead and do that? Give people that may have either been living under a rock or didn't have an awesome childhood an understanding of what Mass Effect was basically about.
All right, so do you want Mass Effect 1 gameplay, 2 gaplay?
I'd say just put gameplay of 2 in the background. And
that's the only one that was like really I feel like the Mass Effect trilogy peaks with 2. This is the only time a sequel was really genuinely better than the first.
This is just a 12-hour walkthrough with no commentary.
Oh, I mean, you can just mute it and then just go like halfway through the video, just have some gameplay going on in the background.
We do it live here, folks. We do it live. Be with us in the moment. Just live with us here.
All right, yeah. So you can just have this running in the background, and then
just
try muting it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
we do it live, damn it!
All right, so yeah, let's talk about Mass Effect, the universe, the trilogy. What's all about?
Yeah. So what the gameplay you're seeing here is from Mass Effect 2. Now, there's going to be some spoiler talk here. Are we okay with spoiler talk?
If it's a 12-year-old game, it's spoiled.
Actually, yeah, you're right. The whole okay, well, if we're talking Mass Effect 3, it's 7 years old. But, you know, you're right.
It's their fault if they get triggered by the spoilings.
All right, yeah.
You've been warned. Coming from this, are you sure it's muted?
I'll mute it completely. I just like had slight noise. Sorry.
Thank you. So basically, you're in a galaxy where we have these Mass Effect portals, and what they are is they're basically giant rings in space that allow interstellar travel amongst the universe. And because we've discovered this technology, now Earth is in this giant galactic federation of sorts of other planets. And, humanity has allies. We see this with friendly aliens and mean aliens. And that's where we get introduced to Commander Shepard. Let's go ahead and start there.
Yeah, so basically, Mass Effect 1 is basically about Commander Shepard becoming a Spectre, or the first human Spectre. And basically what a Spectre is that in the galaxy or the Mass Effect universe, you have the Council. And basically it's an alliance of alien species that come together for the benefit of the galaxy, and they maintain order. So think of Spectres like kind of like the Navy SEALs of the Council. And so basically what happens is that a human colony gets attacked, and basically a Spectre is there. His name's Saren, and nobody knows like why the heck he was there and what he was doing, but this colony was attacked by Geth, which is like an AI kind of race of sentient.
They're like Cylons, but more bug-looking.
Yeah, basically. So Commander Shepard discovers this beacon on Eden Prime, and he's like, what the heck is this? And it basically ingrains like a cipher in his mind about some vision that nobody knows anything about. Turns out that vision is about this, a warning about this race of sentient machines called Reapers, which wipe out the galaxy every 30,000 years. And it's up to him to basically track down Saren and find out, what he's planning.
And lucky for you, it happens to be 30,000 years since the last 30,000 year purge.
Yeah, so in Mass Effect 1, like there's one Reaper that moved in advance of everyone else, and this Reaper's name was Sovereign. He basically the Reaper's whole plan was they assumed control of a already different sentient race of machines called the Geth. The Geth are a race of machines that were created by a race called the Quarians, who turned on their masters and drove them from their home planet. So the Geth owned the Quarian homeworld, and the Reapers showed up, and they were like, "Hey, we're both sentient robots. Let's take over the galaxy together."
As robots do,
as they do. So the Geth are helping the Reapers, and they have a few organic allies in the form of Saren. He's a Turian Spectre.
They're the giant grasshopper-looking mofos, right?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, he's a Turian Spectre who is helping the Reapers because he is actually indoctrinated. Now, Reaper indoctrination is a very complicated process. It's very slow.
Tell it to me like I'm a 5-year-old.
Basically, the Reapers take over your mind and force you to do their bidding. Even if you fight it, you're not really going to fight it well. Like once it starts, it slowly takes over your mind, and you do whatever the Reapers tell you to do. You basically become a human machine.
And that's really the story for Mass Effect 1. It was really that direct. You're trying to basically fight this Spectre gone rogue who's been indoctrinated and is aiding these giant alien robots who are going to go ahead and ultimately purge the universe of all sentient life. But along the way, you make friends, and this is where the whole relationship factor comes in. One of the original allies you have is another space commando soldier. Her name is Ash, and Ash is really just there.
Yeah, she's okay. She's also a space racist.
How so? I don't remember that.
She doesn't like Turians very much because I think like her dad fought in like the initial contact war.
So because a grasshopper person probably killed her dad, now she hates all grasshopper people.
Well, it didn't kill her dad,
That's
but
racist.
She's just not a fan of Turians in general.
All grasshopper people are the same.
Yeah, pretty much. The grasshopper people. We'll go with that.
All lives matter.
And I mean, there's actually a lot of space racism in Mass Effect 1 in particular because people just don't like humans because they're very new to the party and they're making leaps and bounds very quickly in terms of power.
So they hate us because they ain't us.
Exactly, pretty much. So in this game, color of skin does not matter. Humanity is together.
Wow, you're telling me that the only way to end all racial strife in the world is to deal with alien invaders?
Yes.
Well, here's the thing. It creates human supremacists called Cerberus, which is a terrorist organization.
Which we'll get into in Mass Effect 2.
We'll get into in Mass Effect 2.
Okay, so we've discussed Ash, who's there, and then we have Caden. Caden is actually Shepard's buddy and is actually useful.
He's a good friend.
We've got Garrus, who's a Turian, one of the grasshopper people.
Oh, and
he was a police officer turned mercenary.
And a fun fact about Mass Effect 1, in the very first scene of Mass Effect 1, they're landing on Eden Prime. Your initial two partners are Caden and
Ashley.
No, it's not Ashley. It's
Jenkins.
Jenkins, yeah. So
why don't I remember him?
Because he dies very quickly.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
You know why? Because he Leroy Jenkins himself into the battle.
Leroy Jenkins. Now, a fun fact about that is apparently for Mass Effect 1, there was a big poll or something where basically people could vote on Caden or Jenkins as a party member. And Caden won, obviously, and then they just killed Jenkins off.
So basically, democracy is why people die.
Yes, in this case.
Okay.
And then Ashley appears a little bit later to fill in Jenkins' spot because she's like a survivor of Eden Prime.
I'm not against female characters in games, but like she's really just there to serve a singular purpose.
Yeah, I mean,
It's
the
true.
thing is, Mass Effect has really strong female characters. When you talk
100%.
about Kara,
Just
when you talk
not
about Tali.
her.
Just not her.
Just not her. I respect all the female characters except her.
And yes. So Shepard meets a couple other friends along the way after meeting Ashley and Caden on the Citadel, the main galactic hub of the galaxy. He meets Garrus, Caden, and Tali, a cricket person, a
space Muslim.
I guess you could call it.
You know why? Because they go on a pilgrimage. They wear veils.
And they wear veils.
I think I know where they got that idea from.
Well, the reason
very original.
The reason the Quarians wear veils is because they
have a bad
since they were driven from their home world and basically
by
lived
COVID.
In space.
Well, by the Geth, actually.
Since the Geth drove them off their home world, they live in space. So living in spaceships, it's so sterile and everything that their own immune systems just don't ever experience anything else.
This is why I don't use hand sanitizer, for exactly that reason.
Well, I mean, we got plenty of microbes in our air that helps.
The Quarians actually created the Geth as well. So basically, it's a story about...
The space Muslims created the problem.
Yeah, the thing is, they created basically the AI went rogue, and it's a story about, this is why AI is bad.
Yeah, pretty much. And
so what we're basically getting to right now is the fact that this game is focused on so many actual serious, interesting subplots. It's not entirely based off banging alien women.
No, it is
not.
A
small part.
Very like a 2-minute part, a 30+ hour adventure.
All right. So where did we just talk about the characters? How much more of the story did we talk about?
We're missing the most important one. Liara Tassoni, the last character you get on your squad.
Heart Liara. Liara.
The canon love interest, in my opinion.
She is.
Absolutely.
Because here's the thing about Liara. She's the only character in all of Mass Effect who's like a playable squad mate who has 0 chance of dying throughout any 3 of the games.
Because she's a total badass.
Because everyone else has a chance to die at some point if you're not careful or don't make the right choices.
Hey, I gotta take a pee break, and because we do this live, I'll let you guys hang on to it for like 2 minutes. I'll be back.
Okay.
All right. I guess we'll continue with the characters, but basically, Liara also, she's like the only one who could actually decipher Shepard's brain in like the first game about the vision and make sense of it
by mind melding.
Yeah, because the Asari race, they live for 1,000 years, and they basically have telepathic powers, and they're masters of biotics, which is kind of like the Force in Star Wars.
Yes.
So
do we want to wait for RJ to come back for that, or?
I mean, we're killing time. We might as well. But yeah, basically, she's able to decipher the vision in the Commander Shepard's brain and make sense of it.
Yes, which allows them to go to various worlds, and Mass Effect 1 was pretty bare bones in terms of its side quests. The side worlds were very cut and paste. They just had different textures because you could ride around in the why can't I remember the name of the car?
The Mako.
The Mako, thank God. You could ride around the Mako and just shoot things with it. It was fun. It was fun to drive around. Didn't handle very well, but it was just a fun time. And you would just go around. There'd be like little bases you could hop into and fight Geth, and there were some interesting side quests because they told a lot of the stories of those quests through the text.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Mass Effect 1 does actually take advantage of the background option because Commander Shepard can have various backgrounds depending on what you want. Mm-hmm. He can be someone who's simply from Earth. He could be someone who lived his whole life in space and both his parents were in the military. Or he could be just someone who lived on a colony.
Yeah, and who was enslaved by slavers.
Yes. And the only one who actually gets to keep his parents alive is the spacer because both his parents were already military and they were just, badass enough to live. And Shepard joined the military because of that. When he's on Earth, he deals with gangs and other things, but this is all not part of the games, but it's just part of the story and backstory of Shepard if you so choose.
Yeah, and the thing about Mass Effect 1 is you could tell it was an experimental kind of game. They didn't really know how far this thing was going to go or if it was even going to be popular. And you can tell that through the side quests because they probably were in a time crunch and they didn't have time to go back and actually develop fully fleshed out side quests. There's only, it became a cult following. The first game was very RPG oriented. You could tell it played like an RPG game where 2 and 3 started to be more actiony with RPG elements to appeal to like a massive audience, So, and that was when EA acquired it. They acquired the rights to Mass Effect, and when they made 2 and 3.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, so Mass Effect 1, essentially, there were a handful of plants that actually were fully handcrafted and unique. So, damn it, why can't I remember all the names of these plants?
Well, there were like hundreds of them.
Yeah, I know, but there were 4 main ones.
There was Fairmire, there was Pharos, there was Novaria, there was Eden Prime.
Yes.
Yeah. And then Therum is where you found Liara.
Yes.
But yeah,
And then you go to the Prothean homeworld, where you find a bunch of dead stasis pods.
Oh yeah, Ilos. Ilos is you get more. Basically, Commander Shepard finds out about who the Reapers actually are and what their plans are.
And you find out what happened to the last cycle that dealt with this, and that they did not survive. Even their attempts to live in the stasis pods didn't work out.
Mm-hmm. And the Protheans were actually the advanced race 30,000 years before Mass Effect takes place. And they were basically, they were the people who ran the galaxy and they were a hyper advanced race. And they were wiped out by the Reapers and they left their technology on Mars and all over the planet. That's how humanity discovered, Mass Effect energy and stuff like that.
Yep.
But,
hey boys, I'm gonna have to leave you guys because I gotta do some stuff for tomorrow because I gotta leave early.
Okay,
right.
Well,
yeah, we'll see you around, Doyle.
Doyle will be.
I think this
early.
is. I don't think you know Mass Effect as in depth as we do.
Not as indicative, yes.
No.
Yeah. Just let RJ know, and I'll talk to you guys later. Okay.
All right. Everyone, say bye to Doyle.
Oh, God, I'm
Doyle.
getting old.
Oh, hey, Doyle's got to go.
All right, bye, Sean.
Bye, Sean.
Hey, boys.
All right, see ya.
Bye.
All right.
Hey, folks, we do it live. Damn it, I'm getting.
We do it
old.
live.
I
we
swear.
do it live.
I had Afghan for night, and this is like my 3rd trip. But no one wants to hear that. Where are we right now?
So we're going to start talking about Mass Effect 2.
Oh,
We just
heavy
finished
breathing.
one.
Oh, the good one. Okay, so I just want to preface.
So that's
I played
focusing now.
Yeah, so I played Mass Effect 2, and then I played 3, and then I have played part of 1, but it wasn't as interesting. And I gotta say, what makes a game really good is when you can start from any of the games specifically, and you automatically know what happens. And this can't be said for everything, but with Mass Effect 2, I almost feel, especially having played the first game later, that this is probably the best entry point for the series.
Yeah. So I actually have a fun story about this. It's how Zed and I initially met. And
did he tell you about the sex box too?
He did, but that's not how it initially began. So my original introduction to Mass Effect was actually over at my uncle's place because he had an Xbox and he had, and at the time he was like had a GameFly subscription. So one of the games he had was like Mass Effect 2, and he was like, "Hey, you just want to play this?" And then I was like, "Oh, okay, that sounds fun." And I played that game, and I was like, "Ooh, this fun game." So I actually went out and bought Mass Effect 2 for myself, and then I met Zed shortly after I did that, and we talked about Mass Effect a little, and he was like, "Oh, so how do you like Mass Effect 1?" And I was like, "I haven't played that." And he's like, "What?" He was like, "How could you play Mass Effect 2 without playing Mass Effect 1 first? You know how important that is? You go get Mass Effect 1 right now." And I actually went out and got Mass Effect 1 and realized how much stuff actually carries over from Mass Effect 1 to 2. Because,
that's the cool thing about the series is the decisions you make in the previous game carry along in the second game.
I think this was the first game to actually do that.
And it's not just big things either. Like big things like Cade and Ashley, yes, that carries over, but small things like some side quests, like there are references to like because there's like a detective that you meet on one of the planets, and you help her with like a case on that planet and like arrest the guy. And then 2, if you played 1 and did that quest, and you play 2 and carry over that stuff, she actually shows up again. And in the second game, and you can help her again.
See, right there is something I never knew.
And and there's also because Zed, you're gonna tell me to remember what was the name of the creature that like took over people's minds. Like it wasn't a Reaper, but it was like
on Pharos, the plant.
Yeah, it was like the big plant thing. I can't remember the name of it.
Thorian.
Thorian, right. So the Thorian, like at the end of that adventure in Mass Effect 1, spits out a green Asari because it was taking over Asaris and making them green and follow its commands. And like it spits one out, and like as you're killing it, she's basically free. And you have a choice to either kill her or let her go.
I totally killed her.
If you let her go and then play Mass Effect 2, she appears again and delivers another message from the Thorian.
Yeah, but Mass Effect 2 was basically when EA bought the rights to Mass Effect, and they really hyped up the marketing and everything, and then everyone wanted to get into the game. And so basically this is when Mass Effect went mainstream. And
But here's one reason why I loved this so much, and I totally appreciate this now I'm a lot older. Both 2 and 3 had Martin Sheen in it.
Oh, yeah, it did.
I freaking love the Elusive Man.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, he's great.
And then the pilot of the Normandy in 1, 2, and 3 is Seth Green.
Yeah, Robot Chicken fans, there you go. You get some fan service as part of it. And he's as funny as he usually is. It seems like, 2 and 3, while 1 is important, 2 and 3 is really like that's where you see the effort put in. And it's why, like, this game, if they made it into a film, yeah, you're going to eliminate that aspect of it where, it's not the choose your own adventure that makes this so much fun, but they put so much finer detail into the story itself that very few games are ever able to actually manage to succeed at.
Mm-hmm. So Mass Effect 2, it basically starts off with Shepard dying. So his ship gets attacked by this mysterious race of aliens called the Collectors, and his ship is destroyed, and he gets sucked down into the vacuum of space. But he gets saved by this human organization called Cerberus, who basically bring him back to life through like cybernetics and stuff like that.
That's the future and shit.
Yeah.
Yes.
And Cerberus is basically a human supremacist organization. So basically everything they do is to forward humanity's progress.
It's like if Lex Luthor was in charge of the world.
Yeah, and RJ, I want to be clear. Like, Shepard died. Like, I don't mean he was just shot and like left for dead. I mean his ship was shot at, like was on fire. Dead. Like he fell out the airlock, and like his suit like lost pressure. The air was coming out of his neck, and like he was basically choking while he fell down to a planet.
Yeah, they described his body as meat in tubes when they found him. So basically they cloned him and put his brain into another body.
Yeah, his body's gone.
Like here's like a metaphysical thing. If somebody kills you, and then puts your brain in another body, are you still alive, and is that still you?
And that's the question a lot of characters ask through 2 and 3. You know, there's some characters who hint, you know, it's like, are you actually the real Shepard? Like when you meet up with your old crew members from the first game, there's like, we thought you were dead. How do we know you're the real Shepard?
Oh,
so they do reference that.
Oh, and actually, this scene right here, where you're seeing Tally beat with Shepard again, this actually plays out a little differently. In Mass Effect 1, you can go on little side quests for your for your crewmates. Like, it's like small things like gathering data or finding Rex's armor, like family armor. If you do these things, and especially for Tally right here, you can actually reference that event. Like, remember the data I got for you on the Geth? And like, she'll believe you right away. So it actually makes this cutscene go a little faster because she'll believe you.
Less convincing you have to do.
Yeah, pretty much. But basically, you get revived by Cerberus, and they're like, all right, we brought you back to life, so you got to do something for us. And which is basically gather data on the Collectors, this mysterious race of aliens that basically is kidnapping humans in these small settlements like human colonies. And basically, nobody knows where they're taking them. So it's up to you to find out where the Collectors are taking these people and basically, you know, stop them.
I do want to point out too that like one thing I really like about this game is that the actual like the worlds and the species that you interact, they're genuinely original, and that's really hard to do because everything is like 6 degrees of Star Wars or 6 degrees of Star Trek. When you look at like Tally and her people, like I can't name another series where it looks like that. And yeah, I mean, I think the Geth are kind of gimmicky. I think the Reapers are kind of gimmicky. It gives off kind of like a Doom vibe to a degree. But everyone else in this game, it's so rich with things. And that's what it bothers me when critics of this game really distilled it down to like a 2-minute cutscene. They ignore everything that's really good about it. Because I could put this game on right now and just graphics-wise, story-wise, art-wise, it is still better than things that have been made 10 years later.
Yeah, 2 is a beautiful masterpiece, in my opinion.
Well, the writer for Mass Effect, you know, he wrote a bunch of novels. His name is Drew Karpyshyn, and the Mass Effect novels he wrote are really, really good. Like, they're so good, you don't want to stop reading them. Towards Mass Effect 3, I think that's when he left the studio, and you can tell a big difference in the lack of storytelling. But 1 and 2...
For what storytelling was there?
Yeah. I mean, and the thing is, Drew Karpyshyn, when he wrote and created this universe, he made the lore so rich that if you actually go into the main menu of 1 and 2, there's actually a codex with narrated paragraphs about each race. So it's like, these are the Asari, this is where they come from, this is their government structure, and, you know, these are some cool facts about them. So you get a gist of each and everything. Like, okay, humanity uses this type of technology for their weapons, and this is how the weapon works. Like, down to the smallest detail.
There was so much love put into this, and I agree with Derek. I mean, number 2 is probably the best of the series, at least in my opinion.
From start to finish, this game was incredible because it was the one that the stakes were probably the least in this game, if I had to say so, because it's more about Shepard and his crew than it is about the whole galaxy.
Which I think makes it, and I see this as myself as a writer, like the one thing I've learned is that if your story is not character driven, nothing else matters. Because if the characters don't feel like they're organic and they're pushing the story, it doesn't really matter how interesting everything else might be. That's what people want to connect with.
Mm-hmm. And the thing is, the main goal of this game is to go to the Reaper homeworld, or not the Reaper homeworld, the Collector homeworld, which is through this Omega 4 relay, which is like a mass relay, which is kind of like
it's red.
It's red. It's like nobody knows. Yeah, it's an evil looking mass relay. It's not like blue like all the other ones. Like, this relay has got issues because any ship that went through this relay never came back, and people are like, oh, there's probably a black hole on the other side. And so basically, the people think, okay, the Collectors are going through this relay, maybe their home world is on the other side. So basically, you got to get your crew ready for this suicide mission, and you got to gain your crew's loyalty through side quests. in order for them to raise their chances of surviving this mission. So it gives you, an incentive to actually learn more about the characters and invest time into the game.
Now, I
just want to cut ahead real fast. I did not really understand that my first playthrough the game. So when I got to the Reaper homeworld, most of my people died before they could get there. And that's when I said, maybe I should restart from scratch and actually go on some of these side quests.
Well, one thing you also have to consider is that there's a lot of factors in the suicide mission. Like, it's not just the loyalty that matters. It's also how strong your ship is. Because there's like research projects you can do to upgrade your ship's armor, their guns, stuff like that. And if you don't do it, someone on your crew's probably going to die just from an engine malfunction or just being hit too hard. Or something occurring there.
I'm not exaggerating. Most of my people died before I even got to the actual mission. So in the montage, as you're going through the Omega 4 relay, like all my people are dead and I'm only stuck with like 2. And by the end of the game, like everyone is dead. And I realized that number 3
can die.
Yeah, like I realized that number 3 was coming, and I wanted everything I did to carry over. So after going through it like, Leroy Jenkins style, let's just YOLO our way out of it. I just ended the game after I got through the Omega Relay, and I started over, and I actually tried to take it more seriously.
Yeah. So there's actually an ending where like literally everyone in your crew dies, and then Shepard's the only one that made it. But like he runs back to the ship. And Joker can't pull him up and also provide cover at the same time, so Shepard falls. And like Joker is just giving his report to the elusive man that everyone's dead, because he still flies out of there. Like Joker's the sole survivor of that mission if you fuck up terribly.
Also, it's also who you actually select for certain roles within that mission.
Yes.
Like if you need to break up your crew into 2 groups, you got to figure out, okay, who's going to be the leader of the second group. So depending on what crew member you choose to lead the second group can determine which crew members live and die. So you got to choose a crew member which is a good leader.
Okay, based off you actually getting to know them. Like this is like really a judgment call.
Yeah.
Yes. And also I need to say this right now. I hate Miranda for like that, like near the end game, because the thing is, she's always like chiming in, like when you're about to select somebody, she's like, "Oh, I'll lead the squad, or I'll be the biotic that protects you because I can." And like at my first run of the suicide mission ever, I gave in on the biotic pick because I was like, okay, well she's strong enough, right? And she just keeps asking to do something. So I was like, okay, I'll give her this one, even though Jack and Samara stood right there. And like I let her do it, and I lost Garrus because of it.
Garrus is the person that whenever I played through one of the games and he died, I always felt worse. That's why I lost
Garrus to a collector swarm, and I was so sad. And
I tried to keep him through the third game, which at the end of the third game, spoiler alert, no matter who you choose for the very last mission of the third one, they die. But
have you played the extended cut?
There was an extended cut?
Yeah, because people got so pissed at the ending of 3. I mean, we can get into 3 if you want.
We're gonna hold off in the extended cut. We're about to get into 3, but the one thing I really want to emphasize before we go on to that, let's talk about the side characters, because this is when a game is done right with side characters. And the first ones that you meet off, I gotta give it, the actress they chose to base and voice Miranda off of. Holy shit!
Yeah, Yvonne Strahovski from Chuck.
Oh yeah,
God bless her.
Fantastic.
God bless her.
She looks even better in real life.
I know. When the game doesn't do her justice, there's an absolutely big problem.
If they left Miranda as a blonde, I would have been okay with that.
Yeah, I wish she was actually a blonde in this game, but like in Chuck, because she's naturally blonde. But the thing is, like in Chuck, she has an American accent, so you think, oh, she's an American actress. Turns out she's Australian. So Miranda has an Australian accent. So that's how she really sounds like too.
Yeah. So give us a rundown real quick. Who is Miranda, and why should people care?
So Miranda
is a Cerberus cheerleader, according to Jack.
Basically.
So Miranda
that's the best way to do it.
So Miranda is a Cerberus operative. So she's basically the right arm of the elusive man. And she's basically kind of like your handler and your advisor. she gives you basically advice on what to do.
And if you play it right, she's your bang buddy.
Oh yeah, you can have romance with her. She's a romanceable character. And then we have, what's his name? It was a black guy. Jacob.
Jacob is cool. Jacob is like, I think I always thought that if they made like a spin-off game, he would be a cool character.
Yeah, he had a cool backstory. He was actually an Alliance Corsair. I'm guessing it's like a part of like the Alliance Navy, like a special branch, but he was part of the Alliance military. And then he just defected and joined Cerberus because he's like, Cerberus looks out for humanity and the Alliance isn't doing enough for humanity. So that's why he chose to be a Cerberus agent.
One valid criticism I will give this game, I feel, is that the game really forced you, like from the start to finish, to either be completely Paragon or completely Renegade. Because if you don't do that, there are some moments in the game that you can't take advantage of the Paragon or Renegade options because you don't have enough of the Paragon Renegade points in order to make those choices. Like one of the worst was because once you do Miranda and Jack's loyalty missions, like once you do both of those, a cutscene will trigger where Miranda and Jack argue, and then you either have to pick a side or pick one of the Paragon Renegade options that allows you to keep both their loyalties. And I didn't have either the first time I played, and I had to basically give up one and end up giving up like Jack's loyalty.
And like all women, it always goes badly when you have to pick a side.
Yeah, no, it was terrible.
If you chose Paragon or Renegade, you take neither side and you win. But like the thing is, if we want to talk about Paragon and Renegade, it's how the dialogue system in the game works. So
let me pull up some good interrupts because I know they're good interrupts.
Yeah, so Paragon is like the good guy, like the good actions your character can take.
Here, let me play some clips here because
Renegade is like the evil actions your character.
So right now we're watching the asshole options.
Yeah.
Yes, the asshole options. So.
Oh, and this one has Shepard when you could choose to be a woman.
Yes, this is female Shepard for those wondering, and this is what her voice is like. That's not her default appearance, but yeah.
Pause real fast before we start. I don't think I've ever actually met another human being that played as a woman. I've only seen people play her on YouTube. So I know that they exist.
Okay. Actually, before we move on, I just want to say this one thing. Like, female Shepard players, I feel very sorry for you. I mean, you get Garrus, which is a plus, but like any other romance option screws you over. And what do I mean by this? Like, Caden and Garrus are your only two real options because they live and they stand by you. Thane will die. Like, who else?
Thane's the super assassin guy.
He's the John Wick. He's John Wick.
He's literally John Wick.
Yeah, okay. But listen. So Jacob will betray you in 3. Even if you romance him, he will leave you and be with somebody else.
I mean, do we want to give this many spoilers to people who actually have interest in the game?
Oh shit!
Do you want them to find out for themselves?
Okay,
it's a choose your own adventure. It's been like a decade, and I don't know that there was an extension cut for the 3rd. So let's see what evil female Shepard has to say.
Well, yeah. Anyway, pick Garrus or Caden. They'll save you a lot of trouble.
Great. We come all this way, and our only witness is a babbling idiot.
Swarm's coming. Storm coming. Storm of swarms.
Oh, she just shot the computer screen.
Not a word to your people. Let it go.
She just threatened to kill somebody.
Yeah, Shepard's badass.
Fuck it.
Patrol, this is Outpost.
Wrong move.
Outpost. Post 4. Goddamn broken.
You should show more gratitude. Refusing an ally can bite you in the ass.
If I can brush an ally aside, what use are they? You're only worthy of dying first. I'm stronger in every way. The tank showed many imprints of human weakness. Where to break your spine, the shortest path to...
You will stand down.
Oh, he's bleeding.
One hand, but arm the other, and don't hesitate. Maybe you are worthy.
Sources claim you were at the heart of the Citadel during the Battle of the Citadel.
Pause it. Okay, pause it.
Course of the.
Okay, well, two things. One's an observation. One is one of my favorite moments. One, I need to give female Shepard some credit. When she goes crazy, that is hot. Secondly, this part with the reporter, who's just a massive dick to Shepard the entire game, I always went out of my way to do what we're about to see.
Oh, and also for this reporter, whenever I hear her name, I always hear police have been seen in Al-Jalani, Westerland News. Like, does anyone else hear that?
She's basically space CNN, so of course her name is stupid.
Yeah, and I was always like, where's Al-Jalani? What is Al-Jalani? Why have police been seen there? I don't know why you're telling me this. Just okay.
Okay, so female Shepard is being basically harassed by space CNN.
Yes,
pretty much.
And go.
Imagine Donald Trump did this.
Oh.
If true, you told Admiral Hackett to abandon the Destiny Ascension.
I've had enough of your disingenuous assertions.
Yeah!
Not the first time.
Let's go.
Pause. Imagine Donald Trump was like, I had enough of your disingenuous assertions.
So this reporter shows up in all 3 games, just so you know. And in the third one, if you punch her the first 2 times, she's actually prepared in the third game and ducks the first punch, and then you have to renegade interrupt again to punch her.
You think you'd stop interviewing the person that's hitting you?
But I mean, you get the idea of Paragon and Renegade actions.
I went out of my way. This was the only time I genuinely wanted to be Renegade, because it's like, I've had enough of your bullshit.
Mm-hmm. You want to go back to...
but wait. We need to see the best one, and let me fast forward to it. Okay, I think it's this one upcoming.
I have totally judged female Shepard for all the wrong reasons.
Oh yeah, this one. All right, get ready, guys.
Show me yours, tough guy. I bet mine's bigger.
Archangel's got quite a surprise waiting for him, but that means no more waiting for me. Gotta get her back to 100% before Tarek decides he needs her again.
You're working too hard.
That's why I love this game. Doesn't have to have those moments, but when you can basically
you did this one. Don't worry.
But when you can fry one of your own allies because you just don't want to deal with his shit, that was beautiful.
Well, that guy was kind of an ally and kind of not.
It was a fluid relationship.
Yeah, because you were trying to actually rescue Archangel, but you were like posing as someone who wanted to kill him.
Yeah,
to save him. So
okay, real fast. Now we see. Okay, this is the ones. We've got a ton of side characters in this one. This is the only other one really worth mentioning. Jack. Okay, this is the one part in the game where even teenage me is like, okay, maybe this is a bit too far. Jack doesn't have a shirt. Jack just throws straps over her nipples.
Yeah.
Like Mortal Kombat is like Puritan compared to this.
Very true.
Well, she's like a Cerberus experiment gone wrong.
So she did time in prison.
Yeah, they fucked up her
that
mind.
too.
She's basically a skinhead.
She's like a Sith Lord, because like she has
biotics.
Like the most powerful biotic abilities in the Mass Effect universe, apparently.
Yeah, she is very
even
powerful.
more than Samara.
Yes.
Yeah, like Cerberus genetically engineered her to be the most powerful biotic in existence.
Like period.
And I do want to genuinely say this. Samara is probably one of my favorite people. She's from the same alien race as Liara, and it bugged me that you were never able to get into a romantic relationship with her.
Well,
I think you could, but it would kill you, right?
No, that's more than you're thinking of.
Well, if you get with the daughter.
Yeah,
there's a whole other soap opera type stuff. I'm going to hand myself. Go ahead and play it.
All right, let's go.
Turn around very slowly.
Damn it.
Have you seen the assassin?
What are you looking for? You're not one of Nasana's mercs. Who are you?
Tell me where the assassin is.
got nothing more to say to you. If you shoot me...
How about goodbye? You guys all right in here?
She just pushed him out a window.
Shoot! Be at peace.
But yeah, I think you got the idea of the paragon shit after.
Hurt me? I hardly felt a thing.
Look, I can't answer questions.
Yeah, Renegade Shepherd's just the best.
Wow,
Yeah,
I have judged Renegade female Shepherd all these years, and all I have to say is she's a badass.
Yeah, Renegade's fun to play.
Oh, wait, no. One more, I swear, you need this.
This is when you could take advantage of special needs people.
Yes.
Just trust I'm playing it right now. Like,
Wasea will tear you apart. Take a nap. You'll feel better.
Are you mad? I'm unstoppable. Feasting on her biotic-rich blood will be the last...
No, wait. Why'd you Paragon that? I thought that was a Renegade compilation. No.
But Great Wind, Biotic God.
I think we can leave that to people who want to play the game to find out.
Yeah.
That's a good incentive to play this game. Find out what happens when you give this guy the Renegade option.
Find out about the Biotic God.
But yeah, do you want to move into 3 now?
Yeah, so...
If you want to put up the gameplay again, Derek.
I'll put up 3 gameplay instead.
Okay.
Yeah, so Mass Effect 3 has more of a direct continuity with 2, though, as we all suggest, it's so much better when you can play 1, 2, and 3 in consecutive order. But 3, my problem is there's all these different storylines and all these great things that you've accomplished in 2 that by the time you get to 3, a lot of it does carry over. But I feel like a lot of the heart that was put into 2 is sacrificed for really the main story narrative in 3. I just feel like a lot of that heart that you had with the second game, a lot of it was lacking in this one.
Now, I have to say, 3 had some of the highest highs in the series for me. I generally think so. Like, it had some amazing moments.
I totally agree with you on that. But the only problem is that because it has such great moments, sadly, it had a lot of shitty moments that kind of balance each other out. That kind of ruin it for me.
Like which ones?
Primarily the ending.
The ending.
Oh, okay.
The ending.
We'll get to the ending.
I think it's universally agreed upon.
But basically, Mass Effect 3 is all right. You defeated the Collectors. Now the Reaper invasion's here. It's happening, and the galaxy is somewhat prepared. But you got to get all the species of the galaxy together.
That's Ashley, by the way.
Yeah, so, by the way, you know, like the graphics get better game to game, but Ashley's the only character that gets hotter throughout the game. And that's the only positive thing that happens for her. She doesn't actually progress as a person or provide any valuable, assets to the team.
Oh, fuck this kid, by the way.
Oh, yeah, that kid is basically the devil.
Like, you feel bad for him the first time around, but I'm not going to spoil that.
Yeah, so Ashley's looking fine, but she by now, if you've really gotten into it, you're like, oh, why do I have to deal with her?
But
Give me somebody I like.
But basically, the Reapers are attacking, and you got to get the entire galaxy together, all the races of the galaxy to come together as one and fight this basically threat of extinction and fight the Reapers. And basically, the whole game is basically doing these mission story arcs, which it's basically diplomacy. It's like one race wants one thing and another race wants another thing, and maybe 2 races don't like each other. So you gotta be like the middleman and work out a settlement so they can come together and fight for you.
Oh yeah, okay. Here's one specific situation. I'm glad you brought this up. In Mass Effect 2, one of the most underrated characters is a Geth named Legion. And Legion is a Geth that actually joins your side and is actually pretty badass. And in the game, because you're dealing with all these different political issues, you encounter one really head on. Basically, you get to a point where the Geth and what's Talia's species? Quarians. You get to this point where you have to ultimately decide who's going to live and who are you going to take to go fight the Reapers head on. You have to choose between the Quarians and the Geth. And maybe it's just me, But even though in most cases I chose the Quarians, I almost feel like I hate it because I basically choose them over the one Geth character I feel is better than all of them. So it's one of those moments where you really, because you become so attached to these people, I think it's almost like, it's a good sign of a game that makes you feel that, what if I made a bad decision? Secondly, it puts you in that decision. I didn't feel like that was a necessary thing, but it's one of those moments that we're still talking about in terms of this story years later.
Yeah, and the thing is, the Geth may have been a better powerful force to go up against the Reapers because of their resources than the Quarians. But the thing you had with the Quarians is your friend Tally, who's been with you since the first game, and all the things you did for her people. So are you really going to sacrifice an entire race or an entire species of people just to have a slightly better chance of survival in a battle?
Yeah. One thing I will say about the whole Geth-Quarian struggle is that Legion really shines in 3, and just the whole Geth-Quarian part of the game is one of the best parts of the game, because Quarians are kind of assholes.
They're mega assholes,
and the Geth really are just very sympathetic. They're for a race of killer robots that you have actively fought throughout all 3 games. They actually make you love the Geth way more than the Quarians.
The Geth, you always knew what you were getting out of them, and ultimately what you learned through Mass Effect 2 and 3 is that the Geth have ultimately done this because the Reapers were the ones plugging away at them, because they never had free will. And you really see this through Legion's narrative. It's that if you let the Geth actually have free will, they're not these bloodthirsty, Terminators that they've been made out to be. Mm-hmm. Whereas with the Quarians, they screw you over all the time.
And the Legion says the reason why the Geth rebelled against the Quarians was because the Quarians treated them like shit.
Yeah, because they tried to gain sentience, and the Quarians got scared and just started shooting.
The moment the Quarians figured out that the Geth AI had become self-aware, they got spooked and started killing them off. And that's how this big war started.
And some of the Quarians actually tried to defend them, but they were killed by other Quarians in doing so. But the Geth always remember that.
Yeah. But the thing is, this is how deep the lore goes. And if you actually play through this entire experience, it is it's better than any movie or any, book series. It gives you there's just so much lore.
Much lore.
In this, hands-on experience.
Oh, here's the only Latino in space.
Oh yeah, no, he's not. They
have him and our shuttle pilot.
Are you telling me he's not Puerto Rican?
No. He plays a Puerto Rican, but I think they got one of the people from Jersey Shore to play this guy.
They did, didn't they?
Hold on. I'll pull it up.
You're telling me the only Latino dude is played by a Guido? I feel robbed.
Freddie Prinze Jr.?
Freddie Prinze Jr. is an actor.
Oh, is he?
Yeah, now I'm really kind of paranoid because now it's just some guy from New Jersey. It doesn't bother me that much. He's an example of a character that I feel if you gave him more time to evolve, you would like him more. I feel like, even though when they try and flesh him out in this game, it's done in a way that just feels rushed and not well done. Because
he tells a decent story. He has he talks about his sister, I believe.
It's nowhere close to anything from Mass Effect 2, though, and that's my problem. I feel like it was shorted.
I think some characters in Mass Effect 3 were put in there just as favors. Like Freddie Prinze Jr.'s character, he probably had ties within EA or someone high up to put him
totally
in the game.
A political move.
Jessica Chobot, the reporter from X-Play, the G4 TV.
What?
Yeah, she was the reporter.
The one that you punch or the one that you could sleep with?
The one you could sleep with. The one you could call on your ship in 3.
Oh, that was fun.
Yeah.
She's cool.
So that was the whole, during the Gamergate controversy. Have you heard of Gamergate?
Go ahead and explain it, because we're going to have to talk about it. We can't hide it, because this is one of the games that pushed it.
So what I understand is that Gamergate was basically developers asking game journalists who were female for sexual favors in return for like getting a good review or something like that, or to be put in the game. So I mean, I could be wrong, but some people say that's why Jessica Chobot was in Mass Effect 3 was because she knew someone who put her in the game.
And you could also one night stand with her, a Shepard.
Yeah, essentially, and it does not affect any of your other relationships.
It doesn't. That's kind of amazing.
It doesn't. Yeah, it's the ultimate trump card. See what I did there? I always thought of Gamergate. It also had to do with like certain characters purposely being watered down because they were seen as being like anti-woman or anti-diversity in some sense.
Okay, so I got it right here. If you want me to read.
Yeah, go ahead. Let's see what the actual thing was. Because I learned about this years later, and I was never much of a gamer. And by the time I learned about this, I hadn't played a video game since I left college.
All right, so the Gamergate controversy stemmed from a harassment campaign conducted primarily through the hashtag Gamergate. The controversy centered on issues of sexism and progressivism in video game culture. Gamergate is a blanket term used as well as a harassment campaign and actions for those participating in it. A harassment campaign targeted several women in the video game industry, notably developers Zoe Quinn and Brianna Wu, as well as feminist media critic Anna Sarkeesian. After Iran Gioni's Quinn former boyfriend wrote a disparaging blog post about Quinn, falsely accused Quinn of unethical relationship with journalist Nathan Grayson. Harassment campaigns against Quinn and others included doxing, threats of rape, and death threats. So it was a big mess.
And this game was sadly kind of caught in it. Despite the fact that, I mean, if anyone that plays the game knows that almost all these characters, except Ash, are really strong women.
Yes.
Yeah, this is a game where most of the time when you're going to pick who do you want to go into battle with, you're choosing female characters.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Well, I think the reason why they tie Gamergate with this game was, even though it came out in 2012 and Gamergate happened in 2014, was because it's like, why the heck is Jessica Chobot, of all people, in this game? What is her purpose? Because there is, you know what I mean?
Well, it's almost like a double-edged sword. It's like, yeah, she got in the game, but what is her purpose? Her purpose is a one-night stand with male Shepard.
Yep.
Yeah.
If you're playing female Shepard, she doesn't matter at all. So it's almost like, yeah, you got what you wanted, but what are you remembered as? You're the hot reporter who has a one-night fling with Commander Shepard. You're not like, and I got to give it to her. I mean, let's talk about a real character who in this game really takes, really the lead role right next to Shepard, Liara.
Right there.
Whether she's a love interest or not, and I believe she's the canon love interest for Shepard.
Oh, she's on screen right now.
Yeah, like she is
like badass.
Badass.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, I mean, Liara. She's one of my favorite characters in the Mass Effect universe. Like you really know the character, her story, her backstory, and everything's just so interesting.
Yeah, and in number 2, you get the expansion where what is it? The Shadow Collection,
the Shadow Broker.
The Shadow Broker. Yeah, let's talk about that real fast. That what I love about this game is that even after it came out, they kept coming out with these expansion packs, and one of them is where you basically get to fight the kingpin of the criminal underworld, who's this guy named the Shadow Broker. And essentially, Liara, in her own mission, is trying to basically figure out who this guy is because he's causing a lot of freaking problems in the universe. So long story short, you eventually go through this long process, and you have no clue where the story's really going. It starts in the city, and it takes you to the spaceship at the edge of the galaxy, and it's this awesome, awesome story. Really, what I think it should be part of every player's campaign. Everyone needs to have the Shadow Broker add-on.
Oh, 100%.
At the end of it, when you eventually find out who the Shadow Broker is and you kill him, she has to decide whether or not she's going to go ahead and destroy this massive intergalactic intelligence crime network, or if she's going to assume the role of it and try and use it for good. And I'm pretty sure the only option is she ends up using it for good. And it's just one of those moments where it's like the story itself, it plays out naturally, regardless as to how you're going to choose certain things.
Yeah,
and it's gameplay storytelling at its finest.
Yeah, and it has a nice treat in there for those who romance Liara. So there is actually one thing I do want to talk about. and it's DLC for the Mass Effect games. Now, all 3 games did have DLC, all of them. Even 1 did. 1 very insignificant DLC.
I don't think I played any of those for 1.
Yeah, 1 has like 2 DLCs. Pinnacle Station, which is the combat simulator, so you can just fight waves of enemies if you want. And then I think there was it's called Crack the Sky, I think.
Bring Down the Sky.
Bring Down the Sky. And it was basically Shepard flying to a meteor that's going to crash into a planet that it was a mining asteroid, so there was a facility on there, and terrorists hijacked it to basically crash into a planet. And you basically have to stop it. And I think the choice there is either capture the terrorist or save the people. Then you get to pick either one. I don't think there's a way you can do both. I don't remember that DLC very much.
The DLCs for 1 were very irrelevant. You could skip them. You're not missing much.
But
it didn't actually. Did they actually have any impact on the story?
Not really. So basically, what I really want to talk about with DLC is that if you tried to buy Mass Effect 1, 2, and 3 today, there is no definitive collection. There's no you can't just buy Mass Effect 1, 2, 3 definitive edition and get all the DLC.
You still have to buy them separately?
I'm 99% sure there is no version of the trilogy where you get everything.
If you want to, I'm guessing they have it on the Windows Store or Xbox Live or PSN or whoever, Steam.
Or Origin and PCscape.
If you want to play it now, if you want a digital copy, you get it from PSN, Xbox Live, or Steam, right? But because EA owns the rights to this game, they're going to milk it as much as they can. So you're going to buy the game, and then you're going to have to buy all the DLC separately.
Yeah.
If you buy digital. So the best thing to do, if you have an old Xbox or PS3 laying around, they have Mass Effect 2, I think the Game of the Year edition, and Mass Effect 3 Game of the Year edition, where all the DLCs are included.
Oh, I didn't actually know that.
Yeah.
That's good to know. So I guess for PC players, you're just kind of screwed, unfortunately. You have to buy everything separate, which is annoying.
And I mean, that's the crazy... Yeah, what were you going to say, Zed?
Well, PC players or PS4 and Xbox players, if you're buying it digitally, you're kind of screwed on that department for DLC.
And that's what's crazy about this game, because one, it's I think each game itself had longer and longer gameplay. So the first one was 30 hours, the next one was 50 hours, and then there's 60 hours for 3. Or that was one of the first games where I had to put in 1 disc just to download it in my Xbox, and then the other one was to just play the freaking game. Now it's that's everything that comes out. But, it's both the good and the bad of it. The reason why people are still playing this specific trilogy is because you could play it a million times and you're constantly going to get different adventures. You're going to get different levels. You're going to have different opportunities, whether they're big or small. So I feel even though I've probably played 2 and 3, more than a dozen times each, and definitely number 2 more than number 3, I just found number 2 way more enjoyable. I can't even say that I've definitively ever done everything in Mass Effect. And the fact that you brought up some of those DLCs from number 1 I never knew about, it's damn, now I almost feel like I have to go back and do that. Because what am I missing?
Here's the thing. The DLCs are so good. They play a role in the story. So if you do stuff in the DLC in 2, those actions will carry over to 3 as well, even though, it's a DLC. And the thing is, they made this universe so filled with lore and so interesting that EA knows people will buy the DLC again.
Yeah. And in 2, you get access to extra characters from the DLC, the extra crewmates, 2 of them. Was it? I know Kasumi and
the Prothean.
No, not the Prothean, not 2.
Kasumi is the spy who can walk through stuff, right?
Yeah, and that Australian guy, the Australian mercenary.
Was his name Zed? No, Zaid.
Yeah, and that's another thing. I think my brother Ryan must have bought it, and I played it not knowing those were DLCs. But here's another thing I would love about Mass Effect. While it is definitely a space odyssey, space opera type game, it is you've got parts, and it was only really seen in Mass Effect 2. It will change genres on the fly. Some are like detective stories. And then you have the one where you're with Kasumi, where it's basically like a James Bond themed mission.
So much fun.
And this game has so many different facets to it where it's like, yeah, it's a space game, but because it has such rich characters and gameplay and everything else, it is a game with 1,000 lives.
Yeah. The Citadel DLC was basically a 90s action comedy.
It was.
It was a lot like Total Recall.
Yeah,
like they did not take themselves seriously. It was just a break from
the Citadel DLC was in Mass Effect 3 and it was fan service. It's like, okay, before the last mission, you don't know what's going to happen with all your crewmates and all the people you built relationships over the 3 games. Just have a party. And the entire DLC is just a big party with all your friends. Nothing serious.
Yeah, it's like what happens, like Shepard clone, like,
and then something happens, and you got to like deal with it, and it's very entertaining,
very fun.
So,
like, some people made happy ending mods where just the game ends at the Citadel DLC.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
so I almost feel like that would be. Oh God, I almost feel like I wish it had ended there.
Citadel DLC is the ending. It's beautiful.
Yeah. So do you want to wrap up with talking about the abomination known as Andromeda?
100%.
Oh my gosh. 100%. Yeah. I got through half of Andromeda, and as much as I love this series, I stopped playing it at the halfway point. It was just everything you loved about the series had been forgotten entirely.
I think it's the second tab. It's the 5 years.
Oh, yeah, we'll go with this. We'll go with this one.
Okay, so this game was in development for 5 years, and this is supposed to be the game after Mass Effect 3. It's supposed to be the continuation of the Mass Effect universe. And the problem was all the original people who worked on 1, 2, and 3 were totally gone. And they gave the Mass Effect game to some mobile games division of BioWare to create. So basically,
my face is tired.
So people with no experience making games like these, they basically gave them the project, and there's a lot of like BS, like I guess like SJW stuff injected into there, and stuff didn't make sense. The game was very buggy. The story was shit. So we'll show you.
I can't tell you one singular moment from this game that stands out to me as being positive.
Never played it.
This game never happened.
Mass
Effect 1, 2, and 3 are the only Mass Effect games that exist.
That's it. It's
this
over.
Never happened. So, Derek, if you would play the video,
part of Mass Effect and
just look how bad this is.
I'm going in.
Andromeda is a question. How far will we go?
Not far.
The Mass Effect trilogy is a huge part of our history and the lives of many of our fans. It was an amazing story, but this is a whole new adventure.
Pause it.
We're building on the things you love about Mass Effect.
Okay, this is just an upfront lie. Because none of these people gave a shit about the last games. And they certainly didn't give a shit about the fans.
No, not this.
You can't just say, oh, it's new, it's different, we're trying to be bold. No, you were lazy, you didn't do your research, and there was no passion behind it.
They D&D'd the Mass Effect universe.
Yeah, the Game of Thrones this bitch.
All right, continue.
Effect. Amazing stories and gameplay, and now we're letting our imaginations run wild. How far will we go? That question is also at the heart of the development of Mass Effect Andromeda. And for the first time, it's all powered by Frostbite, which means you're going to see, hear, and feel Mass Effect like never before. That's our promise to you.
So the trailers looked amazing. Like, oh my god, this is going to be great.
Simulating the ocean is hard. Simulating a face is harder. Super fast graphics computers, new creative software.
What?
Can you forward it? Yeah, this right there.
One again, like you'll be able to experience things for the first time again. And that was our goal, because we didn't want to just retread ground and make it feel like this was Mass Effect 4.
But it was.
It's so bad. Look at her face.
What happened?
You were clinically dead for 22 seconds.
Is she smiling?
Oh my fucking god, what is wrong with your face?
this is next generation. This is what it looks like. Like some of the pictures are better in 3.
It's really going to be something, isn't it?
I haven't even shown you the best part.
Fuck it, don't tell her anything. Kill it.
All right, what happened?
To who?
To whom? And your goddamn father. Sorry, my face is tired from dealing with everything.
You can't tell. You literally can't tell.
Look a little bit off.
I'll pause it right there. So this woman's face right here was like controversy about the game for so long. Hold on, like this one right here. Like
she has no expression. It's like they spent $40 million on no expression.
So I remember like mid this game's lifespan, they actually did patch her face to make it better. Like this person's specific face. I don't know if they did other faces too, but I remember that being a thing. Okay, we'll continue.
Everything.
And they just look a little bit off. I wrote in my preview, I think they kind of look like Sims 3 era Sims. They sort of just, something about their eyes is a little bit off. Their eyelashes are incredibly thick and just obviously like stuck to their face.
Be aware. That's all.
Don't worry. I majored in glad handing during Pathfinder training.
Don't like being sat on, huh?
ER is Ellen Ryder. He put her here. Scott, it's Mom.
How is this possible?
I suppose you're right.
Incoming call. Patching it through. Sam! Now!
Simulating a face is harder. However, at some point, it gets sufficiently real, it falls off a cliff, and it gets creepy. At some point, it gets creepy.
They were equating that to movies and moments from like the past 10 years. I see iRobot and then The Adventures of Tintin. I'm sorry. I'd almost rather have something be cartoonishly outlandish and look good like The Adventures of Tintin and iRobot than this shit that they attempted to pass off as a good game.
Oh. Very true.
And
if you forward, I think they'll show the shitty buggy.
At some point, it gets.
You and what army?
I don't need an army. I've got a Krogan.
She missed. They're like stage fighting.
Yeah, I didn't get to this part.
Focus defenses here and here. The cat
closet. Okay, I'm just gonna say it because it's obvious, and I don't care what backlash I get because it's the truth, and it needs to be said. This game is just nothing but women.
It's very true. You're not wrong.
And they're not even like interesting women
or attractive.
They're just bad characters.
Keep going.
I couldn't finish this game.
I don't blame you.
Forward it just a bit.
What's wrong with her?
They did promise DLC for this, actually.
Is she a human?
Oh, well, look at her neck first off. I just wanted you to see the neck.
See? No reason we can't be civilized.
What did she do?
What the hell?
Like,
is that a glitch?
This is the state the game was released in.
This was release before they patched anything.
But Derek, if you go like way further, like they should show gameplay.
Okay, I know they do. Hold on. Let me just. What's this?
Because these are all cutscenes.
I think that's okay. The T-post. Okay, here we go.
God.
All right, yeah, just look at the boob physics. It's amazing.
This game has no I remember there was a scene,
like, whoa.
Literally one of the blue alien people, like from Samara and Liara's race, where they're just like stuck between a door the entire time. And I restarted that episode. That level from the original checkpoint, and I found out that everybody saw that. Everybody saw her stuck in the door forever. It was in everyone's game.
Go forward a bit more, like on the. Just let me see the previews. And
okay.
Keep going. More.
Oh, over here.
Yeah, all right. It's fine.
Whoa. This guy fell through the floor. He's dying.
Look what they're doing, RJ.
Look, RJ.
None of this makes any sense.
What?
From their gear, they were hoping to capture someone.
Probably me. Sorry about that. Though, if you'd broken a sweat, I'd be sorrier.
You sent us the message about the Solarian Ark?
Let's be frank. There are too many inconsistencies aboard our Ark. They only make sense if someone betrayed us to the Ket.
You'll still have each other, but we want you.
I love you, Mom.
So
I love you.
So those are both the pro tags. You can play as either the male or female rider.
Live your lives.
Brother and sister.
Do great things. I see so much potential in you.
Compare facial animations from a game made in 2007.
Yeah, really something.
You're someone to me.
Gay.
No.
I'm starting to think that kiss was more than just a distraction.
Progressive, even though you could totally.
One thing has been bothering me a lot. If
you know what? Honestly, that wouldn't bother me if that's something that you want to do in the game. As long as the game is good.
Like, romancing must be so awkward.
Hey, the romance scenes, they're so weird.
Ruin this.
Oh yeah, and the Turians don't look good either.
Because I love you too.
I think I know how to make all this up to you.
Please, no more food.
I think you're cute and I like seeing you up here.
Oh my goodness, writer.
Also, the accent. The accent is, I mean, it's not the only thing, but, okay, I should just go over there to the piloting thing.
Kill me now.
This is so like it's like they put no effort on the dialogue at all. Okay, guys, we're kind of pressing on time. I think we could end it here.
Oh, there it goes.
Oh wow, this is just bad. Really,
okay,
folks, you gotta go you gotta go on the We Are Libertarians Patreon to see this madness. But what I will say is that, often I've asked myself, and even after Andromeda came out.
Wait, let me just show you the end piece of this real quick. It's just a few minutes.
Okay.
I think this has like a musical-esque trailer at the end.
Maybe I'm foolish, maybe I'm blind, and I can see through this and see what's behind. Got no way to prove it, so maybe I'm lying.
No way this is home.
That's why I'm here, exploring the unknown.
Who are these guys?
Visitors just like us.
Oh, get him on the shuttle now!
Nice work, kid.
I'm only human after all. I'm only human after all. Don't put the blame on me. Don't put the blame on me.
The ring is mine.
He has access!
No more mercy.
Hey there, this is Niall, and I'm doing another Blender tutorial. This is how to animate in Blender.
I'm only human
I've been a really sad message.
I'm only human. After all, don't put the blame on me.
Now you are a part of the first wave of arcs arriving in Andromeda, our new home for humanity.
All the dead studios that you killed.
Is BioWare gone?
Well, I mean,
they're about to die because Anthem was shit.
Oh my gosh! Well, you know what though? This is probably worse. Only because of the sentimentality of, like remember what was it, the Predator game?
Yeah, but the
Aliens game, the Space Marines one.
Yeah,
stop sharing now.
Yeah,
but the thing is, after seeing 1, 2, and 3, and how rich and detailed that game is, and how good it looks, and you see this, they spent $40 million on this.
Yeah, they spent a lot of money on it. That's the title of this video, actually. 5 years plus $40 million. Like, they spent 5 years on this game, and it still came out as shit as it did.
So here's my question to wrap it up. And we could do a whole series just about this series alone. But I asked myself many times, especially after the failure that was Andromeda, would I want them to make another one? Would I want them to do more of the Mass Effect series? And honestly, I genuinely don't think so. I think as a game series, it should end, and it should really be looked at as Mass Effect 1, 2, and 3, forget Andromeda. And as Zed mentioned, I mean, I think the lore of it itself is why it's gone into books, comic books, animated specials, and things like that. I think a Mass Effect, I don't think a movie is necessary, but definitely something on HBO or any of these streaming networks. I think what we should do is let it go, let what has happened stay there, be respected, and just let it morph into another medium, so that way we can explore it in a way other than the games.
Yeah, I agree. I think if there was ever to be a game again, I would like it to be a Mass Effect prequel. So, like, going over the First Contact War, maybe starring Anderson.
Maybe.
Yeah,
I would go for like a prequel, but not by those people. Bring the original studio back.
Pretty much, yeah.
But that's not going to happen because of legality and business interests and other stuff.
Fuck.
Me personally, I think the original trilogy was a product of its time, and you can't replicate what they did. You just can't. It won't live up to the expectations of the previous trilogy. I think what we can do now is they built a good basis of the lore and the story. Now I think Mass Effect should just live on through books and comics and other media. Because then you can actually build on it, and you don't have to, have a huge audience to please. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because it wasn't just the fact that it was a video game itself. It was good. It was everything about it which made it a good game to play. It can live on in other medium.
Yeah, and I highly recommend people read the books and watch the animated movies they made as well. It's as good as playing the games.
Awesome stuff. Well, folks, hopefully we've taken you a trip down memory lane, and maybe if you haven't touched these games in a while, now I'm actually, it's the weekend by the time I'm recording this. I might go pick up Mass Effect 2 and start from the beginning myself.
So good.
As always, Derek, Zed, thank you both for being part of tonight's Degenerate Panel. R.I.P. Doyle, who's probably out actually having fun. Guys, it was a pleasure. We're having fun, but Doyle had his girlfriend with him, so of course he has priorities.
That kind of fun.
He's in the White People Beach in Delaware. Well, folks, as always, if you like this, go ahead and engage me online. Go ahead and check me out, Parler, just at Remso, and you know where to find me, how the internet works. As always, we'll be back in a few days. You're listening to On the Run. I'm Remso W. Martinez with the Degenerate Panel. I'll talk to you later, America. Good night.
Check out our other shows and more from the We Are Libertarians network at wearelibertarians.com.